Thank you for being here. This is it's a wellness hub by Monica Campana, where we have people helping people from all over the world. And today we have a wonderful, wonderful entrepreneur all the way from Tennessee. We have Bonnie Surie, who is going to talk to us about her incredible and inspirational journey that led her to do what she's doing right now. And I love her story. So, grab a seat, sit still, relax, concentrate, and get inspired, because she's going to really move you. Bonnie, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me into this experience.
That's nice. Well, tell us what you I know it's a strong story, but I love that story that you told me on how you took this new path to help people.
The path to helping people. Okay, so
Yes.
this tends to be that story. It's that story that I guess just reveals that human nature, that transparency that I think so many of us can relate to, that we try to cover up. But it was in 2010, Easter morning, and my stepdad had put up his tablet on the kitchen counter to record, the family, which at the time was myself, my husband, my three kiddos, my mom, and my stepdad. And we lived with them in their basement. We were pretty much unemployed, went temp job to temp job, um, just just trying to get by with three kiddos. But I was watching this video, this recording that was taken of me later in that day. And what I saw was this woman standing at the kitchen sink with her back towards her family. And she was just like slamming cupboards and tossing dishes. And there really wasn't a lot in there. And I watched my daughter stand up from the floor, and she was playing jacks, and she was probably, I think, like four or five at the time. And she stood up and she ran over to the kitchen table, and she was looking around at the different things on the table and for like an egg. And she like got on her tippy toes and she reached across the table and she picked up this egg, and she was so excited, and she held it to her chest, and she ran up behind this lady, me, at the kitchen sink, and she put up her arms and she's so excited. She says, Mommy, 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 I made this for you. And she was just trying to get my attention. And after so long of me just ignoring her, she said it again. And finally, I just turned around and I smacked the egg out of her hand, and it hit the oven door, and it fell to the ground, and it just broke. And I watched my daughter, her face, her body, just everything about her. She melted. She just crumbled. And she picked up the egg and she picked up the pieces, and I'm watching, and she says something to the egg. And just in that moment, I'm thinking, what did she say? I was just so fixed. I had to know, what did she just say to that egg? And she turned around and she kind of looked up at me, and then she walked out of the kitchen and she said it again as she passed the camera. And she said, "It's okay. Grammy says Mommy loves me." And in that moment, it just hit me. I was like, wait a second, Grammy says Mommy loves me. When was the last time that I told my kids that I love them? When was the last time that I read them a book and I put them to bed and I took them for a walk and I played with them? I was so stuck in my internal pain. I was trapped in my mind. I was trapped in this unhealthy bodies, tipping the scales at one point at 300 pounds, and then releasing the weight, but still never really being happy because I didn't have a relationship with myself. And so here I am, and I'm just like, something I I have to change. I can't keep going like this. And I realized in that moment, like, I have options. I do have options. One of the options that crossed my mind was I could go to the store and literally never come home. I could just run away. I thought, my family would figure this out. They'd be better off without my really negative influence. The other thought was killing myself. Suicide was frequently on my mind. And that was an option for me. And I thought, the kids would probably find another mom, hopefully a better influence, and they'd be better off without me. Again, just knowing that my negativity and that place I was in was affecting not just myself, but those I love. I could change. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know where to start. I didn't really know what that looked like, other than it would be something different than what I was experiencing, or I could stay the same. And I those were my options. And I sat with that for a moment, and there was just this part of me that's just like, just give us a chance. Just give us a chance. And it wasn't anybody asking, but I was aware that there was something inside of me that wanted change, that wanted to keep going, and was willing to show itself to me more if I was willing to pay attention to it. And it was funny because, my whole life, I grew up, my dad did listen to his talking tapes, which were personal development tapes, and I hated them as a kid. Get in the car and dad would put on just a bunch of talking tapes. And he always had books on personal development and stuff like that, but I never really thought that I was absorbed any of it. But I had called my dad and I told him what I had just experienced. And he told me, I just read to you? And I was like, Dad, are you kidding me? You want to read to me? 15 minutes a day, he suggested. Let me read to you 15 minutes a day. And I was like, of course he would say something that doesn't make any sense. I'm going through this extremely painful realization, and you want to read to me for 15 minutes a day. But that transpired into so much more. And it really took me on a path and a relationship with myself and with my life. And even more than that, a relationship with my children, with my husband. And just, I found something that I realized through conversation later on that so many people don't know how to get in touch with, how to connect with that part of them.
When was this? When did this take place?
That was Easter 2010.
Wow, 10 years ago, more or less. Yeah. Wow. And so what did you start doing? You started reading and getting, you decided to change.
I did. So I took my dad. I was at that point where I was just like, I don't know where to start. And so he picked a book. He started reading to me. I don't even remember what the book was, but every day for 15 minutes a day, he would call me and I'd listen to him read. And that caused me to begin, obviously, to think differently as I'm starting to understand, or not even understand, but hear different messages. But more than that, I knew that I wanted to have fun. And my children were perfect examples of fun. And so I started to be with them. I wanted to play with them. And it was funny because in the past, I'd always had challenges with, emotional eating, just constantly eating until I would be sick. And then, of course, being angry and frustrated that was something I did, even though I didn't want to be doing it. I just couldn't get myself to stop. But as I began to develop this relationship with my kiddos and falling into this place of joy and everything else, you know, no diet pills, no, you know, I didn't change the diet. I didn't do anything like that. But that feeling that I was looking for, that I knew the food wasn't doing that, but that was the cause of the emotional eating, started to fulfill itself through what it was I was actually craving and wanting. And that was connection, that was love, that was just something more than what was inside, keeping me stuck and tight and closed in.
Wow. And then at the same time, you started, you did this personal development. You started listening to people. You went to classes. What did you do? Did you met this guy, and then you changed, right? And then you discovered this gift that you have inside.
Okay, so
Because you have a gift, and you know, this is why
I
we're
had
here to share it.
I was, yeah. So you're talking about, I was gifted the opportunity to attend one of Bob Proctor's seminars, The Matrix, out in Toronto, Canada. And while I was there, I was sitting at the table with the facilitator and some of the other guests of, you know, the seminar. And there was an individual there, a gentleman who was talking to the facilitator, and he was trying to ask her a question. And I was aware that he was unable to ask the right question because he couldn't necessarily get to the depths of the emotion. There was a disconnect happening, but I was able to feel it and see it. And so he was asking her this question, he was rephrasing it over and over again, and they really just weren't connecting. She wasn't getting to what his real question was, and he wasn't able to ask what he was really trying to ask. And I said, I just for a moment, I asked, you know, can I have a conversation with you? Would you be open to that? And he said yes. And I was able to help him get an image in his mind of what it was he was trying to change. He didn't really have an image, he just had emotion around it, and it was chaotic and uncomfortable. And through more conversation, he was just, wow, I've never been able to think about it and to actually see it in this way. And during that break, the next break at the seminar, the facilitator that was at the table and some other facilitators, including Bob Proctor's left-hand man, if you will, approached me and they said, would you be willing to come back to the next seminar and be a facilitator, be part of the staff? We need more people like you. You have a gift, and other people have already talked about how just your conversations with them have helped them so much. Would you come back? And so I did. I had that opportunity to continue to be a facilitator for the Matrix. And then I just had an experience, and I realized that I was kind of putting my big image for helping people and the way that I wanted to do it aside while I was basically supporting somebody else's vision.
Working for someone else. So you decided to do it for yourself and help yourself personally, other people. That's wonderful. So you've been in that path of improving and yourself first, because if you don't fix yourself, you cannot fix others. This is my philosophy. And there's many people out there that, you know, they do it and they haven't really looked inside. So you did that, which is one of the hardest things, you know, to look into yourself, and you had that, you know, that road that you're like, okay, what do I do? And you chose the right one, you know, to change, to improve. And now, so now you're helping people. You're like a spiritual and personal development guide and mentor, right? You give a one-on-one right, lessons and classes. How does it work? Like right now you do it like through Zoom?
Yes. So my one-on-one mentoring is most definitely spiritual and personal development. I work on the whole body, mind, body, and soul, knowing your essence, your real self, and revealing that and reconnecting to that is just the main part of this journey, knowing who you are. And it is through one-on-one. I have a 4-month or an 8-month program. But then I also offer more of an insight read, if you will. It's a very just spiritual, yet at the same time, we kind of use the universal laws of potentiality with it, what's possible. So I'll use tarot cards as a way to communicate and give perspective, possibilities to see things differently. I don't claim to be psychic, although many people are just like, how in the world did you know that? I do receive information. I like to, maybe you can say from your higher self that's been trying to tell you things that you just kind of haven't been listening to. And also sometimes I've received information from those who have passed away that are actually in your life trying to communicate something to you about the specific situation we're working on. So I do have those sessions as well, which are a single session, or you could buy a smaller package just to kind of get you started in a direction of deep clarity and a way to move forward, but even just this understanding more about you and the situation that it is that you want to work on.
To improve, yes, and people can find you on your website, right? I think I wrote it down. Yeah, it should be on the post. But if you have any questions, just send a comment, leave us a comment, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. You know that I believe. I mean, I'm a very rational person, very rational, but at the same time, I have something. My grandmother, believe it or not, I haven't said this yet, but my grandmother was a medium.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she told me stories that I was like, okay, all right, trying to, amazing. So that's a totally, it's another dimension that many people don't believe it exists, but I do, and and it seems like you have, that connection. I think it's also because you're very sensitive, and you manage to sometimes when we reach that rock bottom, you know, that and you come back up, then there's nothing that can stop you really,
Yeah.
because you can't go any lower than that, like what I mean. And you saw it and you felt it, and you say, you know what, it's not worth it. It's a life is an adventure, and also the fact that you're helping people. I think that's wonderful. If you manage to do what you love and help people, that's an amazing combination. So it's I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy that I have met you, and I hope that I want to know more about you and what you have accomplished. So far you have these one-on-ones, and people can contact you, and if you ever have any other or offer any other type of class or course or special event, we want to know, because it's something very, very unique. So I right now, anything I'm missing, I wanted to, let's see, anything else that you want to share with us that I didn't ask about?
Anything that I want to share? Well, if I could just give one bit of inspiration today to that individual who is really having a hard time getting themselves into a place of clarity, but courage as well, to get to that next level place with themselves in their business or professional life, and they're just not sure what to do. They're beginning to feel overwhelmed. There's so many options, so many directions. They just don't know where to start. Think of what your goal is, but think of a scene, if you will, just that picture when that goal has been accomplished, right? So you're in your mind, you see this vision of your goal, you're kind of, it's already happened in your life. So go to that place where you're just for a moment imagining it, but notice that version of yourself in that image. And you'll notice that she is, or he is, a more developed, more progressed version of who you are right now. And notice that, notice how they are, how they speak, how they behave, how they present themselves, and ask yourself, okay, what would they do first? And or I do first. Realize that it actually is a higher version of you, a more developed version of you. But if you can separate it and ask yourself, what would they do if they were right here, right now? You're going to know just like that without overthinking it. But that first thing that comes to mind, you're going to hear it. And that is going to be the thing that's really going to get you into the trajectory of and that movement and momentum forward to develop more momentum and progress and just unfold into steps, into knowing how to accomplish or get started at least in the direction that you really want to go. So connect with that higher version of yourself that's in this scene, if you will, of your dream lifestyle or your goal already completed. And then ask, what would this version of me do if they were right here? Because they've already gone through everything that I'm in the middle of right now. And then do that thing, and continue to repeat that every day. And number two would be that get rid of perfection, the idea you have of perfection, and replace perfection with progress. Progress is perfection. That is the perfection. So be willing to shoot for progress because that is what you're looking for, really.
That's wonderful. Yeah, because many times we're like, oh, this is not, we want perfection and we don't get it because perfection is impossible to reach, really. There's never a moment where everything is perfect. And but this is nice. I've never heard this version. Focus on progress. That's wonderful. Wonderful, Bonnie. Well, I would talk forever. So, but we have to keep it, keep it below 20 minutes. And but I'm sure that I'm gonna see you again here soon. And once again, thank you so much for coming here, for sharing your experience, and you're really an inspiration. And hopefully, we can change people's lives one person at a time and improve improve their future. So thank you so much, Bonnie, and until next time.
Yes.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye everyone.